guys, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is my February wrap up and my March TBR video. I read 3 books in February, which is the same amount I think as I read in January. I have not been reading very much at all these past 2 months, and I guess I'm in a slump, but honestly I just haven't had the time to read. That hasn't been fun, and obviously it's not good for videos, but it's also just not good because I do love reading. I'll get into a bit more of my TBR, but let's just talk about the 3 books that I did read. You would have seen in my last video, which was kind of like a realistic reading vlog for the week, I finished The Rural Diaries by Hilarie Burton Morgan, and I also finished The Favourites by Lane Fargo. These 2 I did enjoy, both of them. They both took me a little while to read. I feel like non-fiction or like memoir books do tend to take longer for me anyway, unless it's like very dramatic. The only one that I feel like I read quickly was Britney Spears one and Paris Hilton's memoirs. All the other ones I've read have taken a decent while, so yeah, definitely just something that does take long for me. And this is a very just relaxing, I guess, kind of book. Obviously she talks a little bit about her upbringing and like being in the film industry and TV industry and being on One Tree Hill, but she mostly talks about her life on the farm and like her relationship and her family and her community, and that's kind of most of the book. So it is very like, I wouldn't say slow paced, but in terms of like what she's talking about, it's slow paced. And as I said in that video, I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in hearing a very different celebrity lifestyle, something you maybe didn't think that celebrities really do. I'm pretty sure at this point Hilarie Burton Morgan is kind of retired from the acting world. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, her husband, is still acting though, so that's kind of an interesting dynamic. And then the town that she lives in, also Paul Rudd lives there. So yeah, it's just interesting to see that side of things. If you're interested in that, I'd give it a read. If you know Hilarie Burton Morgan, give it a read. That was the first one I finished, and then I did also finish The Favourites in that video, and it was a day later that I finished The Favourites. This one took me a while to get into, I feel like, because once I started reading it physically, I was so into it, and I do kind of regret because I did start it by listening to it. I think I got more than halfway through listening, and then I decided to read for that vlog physically, and I ended up reading like over 100 pages in that afternoon or evening, and I just became way more into it and attached to it. So I definitely recommend actually reading it rather than listening to it, especially if you're someone that doesn't like fully pay attention when you're listening to an audiobook, because I know that I don't. I feel like this one's hard to recommend to anyone because it's just like it's like a drama. It's a bit of romance, but I'd say it kind of reminds me of like the Addicted series or Magnolia Parks, like that kind of romance where it's not really a romance book, it's more of like a drama book, but there is romance in it and the connections are kind of deep or like unique. That's how I describe this, but I guess as a whole it is a romance because the drama that unfolds is mostly around the romance, I guess, or the emotional parts, I guess. Anyway, you guys, if you want to see like my actual thoughts on this book, you can obviously watch that vlog. I rated it a 4-star, I believe. I could have rated it higher if I had probably read it from the start, but I would have always felt this way. I just didn't like Heath, the male character in this book, and the like love interest. To put it simply, I didn't like him, and I didn't like her friends. I feel like the female main character in this book just deserved people that were actually like in her corner. I know maybe she was a bit controversial and like not really a great person as a whole and like morally, but she still deserved so much better than what her friend and the man that she loves did. And then you would have also seen in that vlog that I started reading Daydream by Hannah Grace. I literally just finished this now. It's the 27th of February today. This is the only other book I read this month. So I finished these 2 on like the 8th and 9th, and then this one on the 27th. This one, I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised by how I feel about this, because I kind of knew going into it that I had maybe outgrown this series a little bit, and I did love Icebreaker, and then Wildfire was still pretty good, and I kind of knew that this wouldn't be as good. But it just took me so long to read, and I was reading this physically, so I can't even blame an audiobook. I ended up finishing it on audiobook because I just wasn't going to read this if I didn't like listen to it. And yeah, I am kind of disappointed. I've rated it a 3-star. I definitely didn't think I'd rate it that low. I know it's still good. It's definitely like more than middle of the road, because I do rate it like 2.5 is just middle of the road for me. And it's probably one I wouldn't recommend, whereas 3 stars for me is average, good. I would recommend it, but only some people. Like, I wouldn't just go out there and recommend it to everyone. And that's kind of just how I feel about this. I obviously wouldn't recommend it anyway because it's the 3rd book in a series and I feel like it's the weakest. I just feel like there wasn't a lot of romance in this, to be honest. And I think maybe because Icebreaker is very like longing, tension, like it's just very like fiery romance, I guess. And then Wildfire is more of like a calm romance, but there's still the like they can't be together because they're in the camp, and like there's still a longing to it, and like they've got to wait kind of thing. I don't know, there was just no tension in this book. It still was a slow burn, like in Wildfire kind of was the same, but it was just boring. And the slow burn is for a reason. Like, it's not like it's just an annoying slow burn where it doesn't need to happen. Like, I don't think that it should have gone any faster paced, but I just think maybe it shouldn't be like however many pages it is. Yeah, like over 400 pages of like not a lot really happening, and they do have a really good connection. They have a very calm like romance. They have like, they're very comfortable with each other, and they bring out a great side to each other, and that's all really nice. But there's just not that like romance to it, I guess. And that's fine. Like, obviously this is realistic. This is how some relationships are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think when you're reading about it, or for me personally, I just want more of like attention and like passion, I guess. But it's not even passion, it's just like the tension and the longing. And I think maybe everyone can agree that longing is like the best part of a romance. And it just didn't have it. And I also feel like Henry was very different in this book, and I know that part of it's because we're in his head now, and we're obviously with a character that's so much closer to him, but it's just not the same. I don't know if there's going to be any other books in this series. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the series, because I think this came out at least a year ago, and I don't know if she's mentioned any other books, but I'm not sure it needs another one, to be honest. I feel like maybe Hannah Grace could do a novella where she kind of wraps up everyone's love story and like kind of wraps up all the side characters, because there is a lot of side characters, and I do think she was probably planning to do a romance for all of them. I'm just not sure if I'm going to continue it based on this book. Those are the 3 books that I did read in February. I'm happy in the sense of, obviously February I associate with romance, and I did read some romance, and honestly this still has like a relationship in it, so I'm happy with the books I read. I just wish I read a bit more, or I just read one that really like resonated with me. So let's just get into my March TBR. Obviously I'm not going to put many books on this because I don't have high hopes. I feel like I need it to be sunny. That's the bottom line of it. I think I've decided this time period just isn't a good time for me, like in terms of doing anything. That probably sounds dramatic, but like I just can't be bothered. And we had a day recently where the sun was out, and I was like, this is what I need. I need the sun, and I need to go on a walk in a park and listen to an audiobook or sit outside and read a book. Right now all I want to do is just come home from work, have dinner, have a shower, and just lie in bed and do nothing. And that's what I've been doing, which is why I've only read 3 books. So I don't think March is going to be much better, but we'll see. I've got 3 books on my TBR, but I would love if anyone has any recommendations for books that really like got them out of a slump, or just you really loved, or like you really felt strongly towards. I would love recommendations because I am struggling at the moment for books that I genuinely feel like an attachment to and want to read. So I have 3 books, as I mentioned. The first one is one that I had kind of in my head to read in March, since I kind of thought about all the books I want to read this year, and I do want to read this year. Out of any fantasy book or series, I want to read this one, and it is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. This is the first book in the Crescent City series, and I do want to read and finish that series this year. It's one of my reading goals for the year. It's just a big book, and I'm in such a slump that I'm kind of scared to start this, because obviously it's a big book. I don't want to be in a slump from this book and just not really pick it up. So if you have read this, give me some recommendations here if it's a good time to read this or not. I think there's a chance this gets me out of my slump, which would be amazing, but I feel like there's a bigger chance that it's gonna keep me in the slump and just make me never want to read this or this series. So it's on the list. I think I am not going to read it straight away. I'm gonna like hopefully pick it up like mid-March. But yeah, I do want to read it, and I think if I don't really read it now, it's probably going to be pushed back to autumn, and I might not then finish the series this year, and that is a big goal of mine. I think I'm putting too much pressure on myself. But yeah, House of Earth and Blood. Then I have 2 romance books. So one of those is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I mentioned this in the last vlog I did. It was between this book and Daydream to read in that vlog, and obviously I didn't pick this one. I think I need a Catherine Center book in my life right now. I've only read one other book, which was The Rom-Commers, and I just loved it. Like this is what I need. I need like a book like The Rom-Commers where I just like completely want to read it and want to know what's going to happen, and I feel like this is maybe her most loved book, so I kind of have high hopes. It's short, it's floppy. I think I'm going to enjoy it, so that's why it's on my list, and I do think I'll probably pick this one up next. I also just want a good romance. I want something lighthearted, and I want that longing and stuff, so hopefully this brings that. And then the other romance I have is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I got this the other day because I was in the works and they had the set, which was Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer for like £7 or something, and I was like, that's really good. I already had Part of Your World, but it was the old edition, so it didn't match any of my books anyway. People love this book as well, so these are 2 pretty well loved romances, and that's kind of why I've picked them, because I have high hopes and I feel like there's just no way I'm not going to enjoy these. I am going to start with Catherine Center's book, obviously, as I said, but Yours Truly is really well loved. I do want to read it anyway, because I do want to read Just for the Summer and Say You'll Remember Me. They both have really good reviews as well, so I kind of just want to keep pushing through that series. I know it's kind of more interconnected, but yeah, that's kind of my thought process with this one, but I know it's really well loved. You do see Brianna, the female character, in Part of Your World, so I already kind of know her. And then Jacob is a very well loved male character, I feel like, or like he's basically a lot of people's book boyfriends, I feel like, and I think he has anxiety. I don't know if she does as well, but he definitely does. And I remember Destiny Sidwell kind of talking about how the representation in this book for Jacob kind of like resonated with her, I'm pretty sure, and I'm just interested to see that and see how that's represented. I'm also excited for this one. I will read Bodyguard first, and potentially I'll start it today. We'll see. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, but let me know your thoughts on me reading House of Earth and Blood at the moment, because I'm just a bit scared, but I do want to read it. My goal is 3 books for next month. I'm already 2 behind in the Goodreads goal for the year, so I'm going to be behind no matter what, but I do think I'm going to read more in the summer months, so I'm not too worried about that at the moment. I think I need to start getting my game back up in April. But those were the 3 books that I'm hoping to get to. Let me know if there's any good books that might get me out of my slump, and then these are the 3 books that I did read in February. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one.